Good morning, everyone. We're here to talk about how new emerging technologies can actually be used to advance these sustainability issues and serve the public good that you've been hearing about today. I'm Nguyen. I'm founding president of the Bitcoin Association, which is a global industry organization which supports Bitcoin SV, one of the competing chains of Bitcoin, which is most focused on data usage for blockchain technology. I'm going to ask everyone to quickly just introduce themselves and their role in this world of emerging technology as it relates to sustainability. We'll start with Stephan.
All right, I can start. So my name is Stephan Nilsson. I'm the CEO and founder of UNISOT. It's an enterprise blockchain platform for global supply chain management.
Okay, fantastic.
Hi, my name is Mohammed Salman Anjum, and I'm the chief mate for MateSol. We do smart solutions with integrity and intelligence.
My name is Phillip Runyan. I am the co-founder and managing partner of Veridat. We are a data integrity platform for highly regulated markets with strict data compliance requirements.
Hi, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Marta Paiar, and I'm wearing two hats. So I am the chairwoman of an investment vehicle into frontier markets. So we do invest in tech-enabled companies that support the people at the bottom of the pyramid. And I'm also working with Accenture on bringing the best of the technology to solve the problems and find opportunities in the Middle East and Africa.
Good morning. My name is David Washburn. I'm CEO of nChain Group. We're one of the global leaders in blockchain research and development, developing solutions for global enterprise blockchain leaders.
Good morning. My name is Robert Rice. I'm the founder and CEO of Transmira. We blend and monetize metaverse technologies for businesses, brands, and smart cities, and we are aiming to be a bridge to the future to make everything sustainable and awesome.
Marta, I know in your work with Accenture, you have a project going on that will really address some important green energy issues. You want to tell us about it?
So thank you very much for your question. So basically, yes, with Accenture we have a lot of experience in using IoT and also applied intelligence for sustainability. One particular project I really would like to mention, it's something we have been doing all over the world and also here in the Middle East, which is really about supporting the post-COVID recovery by using our artificially applied intelligence methodology and tools to help the reskilling, to really help the companies to transform into digital and making sure, for example, that they could identify with machine learning what are the skills in the different companies that are becoming obsolete, and then what could be, the training need to replace the others. So it's really about making sure that they can be employable.
Okay, let's go to Robert quickly. So you are an AR and VR platform company using the Bitcoin SV blockchain. How can your technology help with smart city initiatives that improve sustainability?
I think most smart cities tend to aggregate and collect a lot of data, and they try to drive actionable insights from that. With the technologies that we're bringing together, whether it's AR, augmented reality, virtual reality, IoT, blockchain, we make it easier to visualize the data, drive those actionable insights, but also think about how buildings and cities and resources are more interconnected at a more granular level, which gives way better information, more engagement, and ultimately helps to optimize and streamline things for sustainability.
Okay, now let's go back to Stephan over here. I need the microphone pass over here. Thank you very much. Stephan, your company has a supply chain management solution platform built on the Bitcoin SV blockchain. Tell us how that would help with sustainability issues.
Yes, so today's supply chains are very, very unsustainable, very inefficient. So there is a number that end-to-end supply chains from seed to plate has an efficiency of less than 20%. Which means that we have 80% of waste. And this is a big problem. And this is what we can solve with an open public blockchain like Bitcoin SV, and where we can let every actor in the supply chain add information securely to also give customers the information exactly of what the ingredients are. And that's very important for food safety and the quality of the food.
Okay. Mohammed, tell us about some projects you're involved with that will contribute to sustainability, particularly here in the Middle East, as someone who's local to the region.
Yes, over the period of last 4 or 5 years, been involved in several, but I'll highlight only 3. Recently done the pandemic management system, which is taking the box of United Nations 17 sustainability goals. That was for the pandemic management, still been involved with the vaccination management system. Then our project with the University of Sharjah, one of the leading universities here. We are doing the tracking of the consumption and the production of the green energy, and the objective is to highlight what will be the forecast for the next demand of the green energy. And of late, we are doing another project that is there for the inclusion for the unbanked, and that is InvoiceMate. There is a liquidity pool coming up in shape of cryptocurrencies and digital assets, $1.8 trillion market segment now. So to access that, we need technology for that. And we, with the InvoiceMate, are bringing that tool so that the real businesses can connect with the liquidity of the cryptocurrencies and digital assets. Invoice financing is the 3rd largest trade financing mean, and there are millions who can now avail with this new tool to the liquidity of the cryptocurrencies and digital assets.
Phil, so we've heard already a lot about the power of blockchain technology here in terms of its data capabilities, because a blockchain is simply just a ledger to store data and record data. Your company is really focused on ensuring that people trust data more, including with clinical research for pharmaceuticals to create more trust in the drugs that we take in our lives. Tell us about how you're working with a big pharma company to improve the trust in drugs and health.
Sure. So our partner has integrated Veridat into their research workflow. Basically what this means is that during the preclinical trials in which they render data, which will eventually be used to verify a drug that we'll all eventually ingest, we capture that in real time at the source. We render it immutable. This is important. This type of partnership is important because the business will be able to make sounder, faster decisions earlier in the life cycle of drug development. The application and audit processes are streamlined because we're all working from an agreeable source that this data has not been mucked with. And ultimately, we, the consumer, will be able to have faith in that the therapies in which we receive, such as vaccinations, this rings a bell, that these things were actually created through a very transparent process. The data that was used to be able to get those approvals was tamper-proof. And all of that is possible because we do this on a public and transparent Bitcoin SV blockchain.
Dave, your company is one of the leading blockchain R&D businesses in the world, and it is working with a nation, a small island nation of Tuvalu in the South Pacific, to create a national digital ledger, being the world's first government to be completely paperless. Tell us about this project and how it's helping this island nation deal with its sustainability issues and, in fact, potential survival of its people.
Thanks, Jimmy. Yeah, we're working with the small nation of Tuvalu on what we believe is the first complete digital transformation for a country. This has got a really broad scope despite the small size of the country. Everything from creating a digital currency program on one end to complete digitization and interoperability of their government records program. So really important one for this country because due to the low-lying profile of this island nation, Tuvalu may be the country that is first affected by rising sea levels. And in fact, they do have some long-term contingency plans in place for what could be a complete relocation of the country. So this digitization has a really big social impact as well as potential big economic impact. For example, on the cash side, like many other island nations, Tuvalu uses an incredibly high percentage of physical cash in their economy. In fact, they actually run out of physical cash quite frequently. So being able to make a complete digital transformation there can have a really big impact.
All right. Marta, let's go back to you. So tell us about one of your portfolio companies that is involved with some sustainability technology.
Sure, thank you. So we have Well, strong of my experience on M-Pesa, which is the first, and I believe everybody knows it's one of the most successful financial inclusion instruments. We have focused a lot on fintech and supporting the blockchain-based companies in the MENA region and in sub-Saharan Africa that help especially women and people at the bottom of I would say, the social chain to become able to transact. And we had several of our portfolio companies like Fiscal, who has now been used by Vodacom, which is the Etisalat operator in South Africa. Then the other focus that we have is about renewable energy. Coupled with technology. So we have 3 or 4 portfolio companies, notably in Kenya, when we started 5 years ago, that have been supporting the people that are off the grid with, getting lights. We also make sure that the kids in the, rural houses are able to study in the evening, that women, after also 6 p.m., which is in the equatorial Africa where the sun goes down, are able to, work, sew. And this also has a very strong, I would say, impact in getting people outside of the poverty line. So there are 20 companies, as you all know, active in South America, active in Southeast Asia, and also in Africa, with different also financial fortunes. One of these that we have is Paiar, has now deployed, I believe, more than 10,000 solar kits in 5 years, and it's in East Africa. We're also supporting in the southern part of Africa another of these companies that are also, so far provided grants for children to get to university and support and study a green economy. So summarizing, we are really much focused into what is supporting the energy and what is supporting also, the financial inclusion of the people. We've started venturing into health tech with 2 patent companies and then into agri-food, which is something also that we have seen some traction and potential in Saudi. So that's what we do, but the majority of everything is really about tech-enabled because we believe that technology can really change the world and change people's life, and definitely has changed mine.
Let's talk about consumer behavior, because we can't have a more sustainable world unless all of us as individuals change behavior in some ways from what has been historical. And I want to go to Robert and talk about how technology, and particularly with blockchain technology and data and the incentives of actual digital currencies or tokens, can incentivize better behavior, for example, in smart cities, which is a big initiative here in Dubai. How could smart city technology, such as you're providing, actually incentivize people to be more environmentally friendly?
There's a few ways, actually. So in one sense, the way we blend these different technologies together helps us do interesting things like digital twins, so which are good for whether it's leveraging both augmented and virtual reality for collaboration or education, kind of helping bridge the digital divide. But at the same time, by layering in other data things from IoT devices or sensors, whatever, that gives us a much richer and smarter data set that we can then use the other immersive technologies to help engage with people, help them understand the world around them, or see what's going on in other places. One example might be using miniature sensors to have a granular sense of climate changing in a city for pollution or temperature or whatever that people can see and visualize, and then we can use that to prompt behaviors, or maybe planting trees. How does that affect carbon in my city? Maybe I want to pay more attention to interacting or supporting or planting. And then of course there's a lot of gamification we can do to do other rewards, which are great for persuading people and getting them to do things. And that's one of the nice things about our tech is we can very much drive those interactions, but without the necessity or the fundamental pieces of like blockchain or IoT and these other integrated sort of elements, those are just necessary for the trust and to really drive that dynamic data that's responsive.
So you could incentivize consumers with basically a digital currency or a token of some type that gives them value, a rewards point, a coupon to Starbucks.
Absolutely. We can drive commerce, we can drive foot traffic, but also it's great for giving people a sense of ownership and responsibility. So.
Okay, let's go to Stephan here. Can I get the microphone to Stephan? On the note of incentivizing consumer behavior, how is the data your platforms are collecting, for example, about seafood or other food? Tell us about the level of detail of that data and how that could lead consumers to make better decisions about the food they eat.
So the first project we did on our enterprise blockchain platform was in the seafood. And where you see there is, it's very important to store as much information as possible and as detailed as possible. So that's why we needed a blockchain that can handle a lot of detailed transactions. And by doing that, we can incentivize producers to add more information. They can buy and sell information and make money on their information, which means that they are incentivized to put more information into the system. And that leads to that they can also then prove their quality and their food safety to their customers, but also to the end consumers. So by proving that and giving this information to consumers, consumers can now be more secure about the contents of the products. So if they are allergic or have are vegetarian or gluten allergic or stuff like that, you can now be sure that the product that you buy is really not containing these products that you don't want. And that can be secured by the blockchain technology, by that the information, all the information that is stored in the system now is signed by a digital key by the provider of the information, which make it much more secure and can be used as a proof.
Right, so food company gets data onto blockchain at detail, consumer gets a mobile app where you can actually scan and see in real time when you're buying something at a restaurant what the source of that food is, and then use that to actually make your food decisions. Let's go to Mohammed. Tell us about what you think of the use of blockchain technology for the projects you're seeing to incentivize better consumer behavior that is more sustainable.
Yes, again, if you are into data is everything, so now with the blockchain technology, I think we can incentivize the use of data and rightfully how we can use the data for different like use cases. It is going to be implemented in enterprises as well, which is my space. So coming forward with the applications and use cases that will be helpful for the enterprises to use their data and for the monetization, which has not been there. There was data silos and redundancy issues, but with the help of the blockchain, and especially with the public blockchain, I would like to mention about that, because with the permission, it's not going to be easy. It's possible, but it's not the right use case for the permission blockchain. So public blockchains will be the right tool, and that's going to be the one application of incentivizing the data monetization for the enterprises.
All right, let's go to Phil. Phil, so one of the things your platform can do is also to help stop counterfeit drugs. And that's a serious problem in a lot of regions. Tell us how that would work.
Excuse me. I would say one of the biggest issues we have right now in drug distribution, manufacturing, is that for countries that have money, you get fantastic drugs, as to be expected. What happens is that when production is done in Asian countries, not just limited there, but it seems to be certainly a much larger issue, what happens is that when drugs don't pass a purity test, instead of destroying them, they end up giving them to their own people. They end up in countries like in Africa. They end up in places where people are at most at risk. Instead of destroying them, they say, you know what, we're actually not intentionally, but just because these are lesser quality drugs, they create stronger viruses. People don't get better. All we do is kind of feed a virus something and makes it actually worse for the entire population. Through Veridat, we're working to not just address the couple bad apples that really ruin it for everybody else. We really want the pharmaceutical companies to say, look, we understand there's a problem in this industry. We need to regain the consumer trust. And through that, we'll weed out these bad players. And we'll no longer have this consistent issue where these countries are really just getting raked over the coals because they can't afford the higher quality drugs.
All right, Dave, we'll end with a question about Internet of Things, because there's going to be, by 2024, 83 billion IoT endpoints in the world, it's estimated. How is blockchain data going to be useful with all of this IoT data to create more sustainable practices?
Yeah, great question, Jimmy. The explosion in IoT devices is starting now, and it's definitely going to continue in a really big way. So through this process, there's a phenomenal amount of data that's being generated. And the really important part here in being able to turn it from numbers in a spreadsheet into something that can influence human behavior is attaching some monetary value to it. So the concept here that data plus money equals information. And when you're able to provide some economic incentive, that's the biggest driver to changing human behavior. So we think about this being a real two-way flow of information. So whether it's private industry or government being able to better understand human behavior and then incentivize change, that's the biggest driver to being able to make a difference.
All right, and I'll wrap up by giving everyone 5 seconds to tell the audience what's the one way you think new technologies can best improve sustainability and good in the world. Robert, go.
What was it?
What's the one thing that new technology can do to best help sustainability in the world? Quick.
Blockchain.
All right, Dave.
Stole my answer.
Stole my answer. Okay.
Blockchain.
Make that 4.
Make it 5.
Make supply chain more efficient with public blockchain.
All right, it all comes down to blockchain technology. Thanks very much for your attention, and I hope you understand a little bit more about how these new technologies can make the world a better place. Thanks.